everybody, and welcome back to Val's Kitchen. We were away for a while, but we're back again now, and I'm going to make 3 different recipes, very quick recipes. Once you have all the preparations done, they're quick. We're going to make date ladoos, that is like a sweet from India, made with dates and nuts. And I like to do these before Christmas and give them for Christmas presents to people. They really like them. It's a bit different than giving chocolates. Everybody gets chocolates at Christmas, but date ladoos, they're something a bit different and a bit healthier. And for date ladoos, we need dates, roasted sesame ground, roasted almonds ground, roasted cashews, ghee, and cardamom and sugar. I make them in the Indian style, which means that there's quite a bit of sugar, but if you prefer not to use sugar or to use less sugar, it's up to you. I mean, it is a sweet, and Indian sweets are quite sweet. So we start, and what we have to do, I have these are normal dates, and I grind them up in a food processor. So it makes them like a bit easier to work with. You can cut them into small pieces, but I always find that they're a bit too rough. So if you can manage, I have this little machine here, which I grind them up, and it was really good. I mean, it did it in a few minutes. So, and what we do is we roast these dates so that they get a bit sort of soft and easier to work with. There are still pieces in there, that doesn't really matter. Then you know that they're dates. So we're frying them in ghee, and that helps them because when you put the nuts and everything in, they're a bit rough. So this softens everything up so that you can roll them more easily. So we just fry this for a few minutes. Doesn't need much. It just needs to come together with the ghee so that it absorbs the ghee. And I like to give this to kids because they're very, very healthy. In Ayurveda, they say that dates and all of the nuts are very healthy. They have a lot of calcium and very good for bones and strengthening. And for us, it's a winter tonic. It's really great in winter to have something like this. So this is all getting quite soft. It's a beautiful sunny day. When I woke up, everything was covered with snow. And it was a bit grey, but beautiful because snow was hanging on the trees and it was lovely. And I thought, oh, maybe we'll get a white Christmas. That would be something unusual. So now I'll put the sugar and let it melt a little bit. Don't get shocked. Sugar is a sort of a thing here. When you're putting sugar in sweets here, people get a bit worried. But in India, I think if you're going to eat something sweet, it should be sweet, but you shouldn't eat too much of it. And one of these ladoos, one of these balls, is usually enough at a time. You don't need any more than that. It's beginning to smell absolutely gorgeous. Now just put these in one after the other. Roasted and ground almonds. Like I said, the preparation takes some time. You have to roast them and then grind them. But if you're baking, you take time with that too. So, and now they have the roasted cashews. And I have here some toasted coconut, which I'll roll these in when they're finished. This is really one of my favorite sweets in winter. And people are really delighted to get them as gifts. Put them in a nice cellophane bag with a nice ribbon. This is sesame. There's another part of this recipe that says to use kus, which are poppy seeds, white poppy seeds, but they're very difficult to come by. You have to go to a special Indian store to get them. You don't get them in a normal supermarket. So I did without them for this recipe. So. And this, just the whole house is beginning to smell like toasted nuts and beautiful. And once this is all mixed together, we just leave it off to the side and let it cool until you can handle it. And then we just roll it into balls and coconut, and that's it. That's Bob's your uncle. I've started to decorate my flat now. On Saturday, all my friends are coming over, and we usually do a big decorating party. the Advent event just before Christmas, when it really gets ridiculously decorated with all possible wreaths and garlands and candles and angels, lots of angels, and a Christmas tree. And this year I decided I didn't want to buy a Christmas tree that I had to throw away. That really was sort of something I didn't really like to do. So I bought a live Christmas tree. It's a tiny little, it's very small, but I'm hoping it's going to grow when I put it out on the terrace. So we're all mixed now. Look at this lovely dough. I'm not going to touch it with my hands because it's very hot. While we're letting it cool, I put about a teaspoon or a half a teaspoon of cardamom. That gives it a really nice, a nice aroma. So we'll just let it cool down, and then we're ready to roll. We always say if you put these in an airtight container, they'll keep, for a few weeks in the fridge. And I always say they'll keep for a few weeks if nobody knows they're there. Okay, we've let this mixture cool a bit, and I've started to make these balls, and I'll just put them here so we can start rolling them. I take about maybe a tablespoon. They're very soft. They harden up when they cool. They're still a little warm. In India, they do like this. Just like about the size of good-sized walnuts. These are Ladoos. Very simple. You don't need to roll them in coconut if you don't want to, but I think it just makes them look nice. So now we get on to the next dish. We can do the rest in between. But this is what they will look like. So we're going to make a snack. We'll be having sometimes people over for tea. And if you're like me, I'm not really a much of a cake and cookies fan. I like to have something a little salty or spicy with tea as well. And so we're going to make an Indian. They're like little potato burgers, and they're called Aloo Tikki. So we're going to make tikkis, and with them you need, this is boiled potatoes. I boiled them yesterday. They're much better because they don't have as much moisture in them the next day. And then I put them through a potato ricer, or you can just mash them with a masher, but they shouldn't have lumps. They should be quite smooth. And then to this, we have some rice flour. We make a dough with the rice flour. We have ground cumin and ground coriander. We have mango powder. This you can get in an Indian store, and if you can't get mango powder, just use a little lemon juice just to give it a little bit of sourness, a little salt, and some chopped up coriander. And I wanted to use fresh chilies, but I didn't get any fresh chilies, so I'm going to put chili powder. I'm going to take my little magic. I'm going to put, I would say, half a teaspoon of chili powder. Just gives it a little bit of a, maybe about this much. You can put less, or you can leave the chili out completely if you like. So I'll just put this onto this nice plate and mix it. This is the mango powder and salt. And this is cumin and coriander powder. You can change these spices as you like. A lot of people don't like coriander. I love coriander, but you can leave it out if you don't like it. Chop it quite finely. So I just mix all of that together. This is part I love. And then we add rice flour, and you can add normal flour if you like, but it doesn't make them as crispy. Normal flour absorbs more oil, and rice flour, it doesn't absorb as much oil. So your tikkis, if you use rice flour, they won't be as oily. So I have 4 tablespoons of rice flour. I'll just mix it until I feel that the consistency is right. It should be quite firm because you're going to make little cakes, like little potato cakes. And it is great if you're having sort of a party and you want some finger food that's a bit different. They're not that complicated to make. And I made them recently in a cooking class, and they were the big hit of the day. And you can eat them with tomato ketchup, or I'm going to make a mint chutney today. And you dip them in that. Now, the mint chutney has to be quite spicy. And the thing is about, if you're eating fried foods, you need something that's a bit spicy to help you absorb the oil. It's like here in Germany when they have sausages, Wurst, they have it with mustard, and that helps the body to cope with all the oil. I mean, it's not a dish you would make every day. It's something you make for a special occasion. And then we leave this to the side for about 10 minutes until we finish our chutney, and then we can fry the tikkis. Here in Germany, they're all going mad making cookies, but like I said, I'm not really a mad cookie person. I mean, here they're just they make them so beautifully, you know, like little stars and little moons, and then they decorate them, and they've got all kinds of glitter on them, and they're beautiful. But it's, for me, you know, you spend all that time making them, and then they're eaten in about 2 minutes. Okay, I'm just going to set that off to one side, wash my hands, and then we'll make chutney. So we're going to make mint chutney today. This is actually, you know, quite an easy chutney to make. But you really need some kind of a food processor for it. Otherwise, you can't really do it with someone asked me if you can do it with a mortar and pestle, but it doesn't really work. For this chutney, I'm using ginger, a garlic. The recipe says green chilies, but they have to be a little spicy, and you can't get green chilies unless you make an extra trip to the Indian store. So it needs to be spicy, so I'm using dry red chilies. If you can get fresh coconut, wonderful. Don't worry if you can't. I just took about 100 grams of dried coconut flakes and soaked them in hot water for about an hour, and it's quite soft now. This is mint, and this is coriander. The coriander takes, if you just do mint, it's very, very, it's very intense, the taste. So we put coriander, and don't worry if you don't like coriander, you don't really taste it because the mint is so intense. So, and in my little machine here, I just put the garlic and the ginger. I also have lemon juice and a little salt. Will come later. So I'm going to mix this up a bit and see. I love this machine. And you say, well, I don't have one of those. And I say, well, Christmas is coming. You can put it on your Santa's wish list. All I want for Christmas is a kitchen machine, a kitchen machine. Oh, my hands are wet. Now, you're supposed to do this more gracefully, but I've got it stuck. There you go, I think. We will try. So you're going to get these a bit sort of still bitty. The coconut is still quite wet. So, and that will mix nicely with this, and then one after the other, then put the mint and the coriander in, and a little lemon juice. There are many different kinds of chutneys. There are dry chutneys, cooked chutneys, pickled chutneys, and this is a fresh chutney, so it doesn't keep that long, but really it won't keep that long because you'll eat it. And now you just put this in a little at a time, a little lemon juice. I don't use all the lemon juice at once because it depending on and about a half a teaspoon of salt. It's beginning to come together now. Just put the rest of it in. It smells fantastic. Now, if you're going to use this as a dip, I always I mix it with a little yogurt because then it's easier to dip, like with these tikkis today. But you can just put it like that if you're serving an Indian meal, you know, and you want to impress people. It's one of these impress your friends things. Then just put it without the yogurt. This is the water that I soaked the coconut in. So if you need a little water, if you think it's a bit too dry, then just add a little water. More than that, you don't need a lot, but it should be nice, kind of a... I just put about a teaspoon of water in. Oops, sorry. Haha. Forget one stage. When I was doing my cooking classes, this is always a job I give to the students because they really love to do this. And it's, you know, you can see you get a nice success. It's beginning to come together. It smells amazing. So just put a little tiny bit more water. You can make it without coconut as well if you like, but I don't know, I just think the coconut kind of gives it a really nice, a nice flavour. In India, when they make chutney, they have like a big stone. It looks a bit like a gravestone, and like a kitchen, like a roller, like a rolling pin, but also stone. And the women sit, on the ground, and they just put it on the stone, and they go like this until it's the proper consistency. But that stone is a bit too heavy to carry in my luggage. So, this is our chutney. So, we're going to start making tikkis. Now I'm just heating the oil. It's like just a tiny little bit. We don't need that much oil. And I take about, say, this much, and just make potato cakes from it, like this. If you want them to have a nice shape, you can do like that. I don't like them to be too big. You can make them as big or as small as you like, but I kind of like them to be sort of like this. And as soon as the oil is heated, we'll start frying the tikkis. It's actually a very quick snack. In India, they have the most amazing snacks, fried snacks, and they serve them when you have like a special occasion, if there's a festival or a wedding, and they're just amazing with all kinds of vegetables. And of course, my favorite is potatoes. You can give me anything. You can serve me potatoes every single day. It must be my Irish soul that I just love potatoes. I've had this on a high heat. It just needs a little time. And if you want to see if once it starts to get a little smoky, then I'll turn the heat down. It doesn't need to be very, very hot, just in the beginning until the oil heats up. And there's a dish that they make in India called potato vada, where they make some similar mixture, and then they dip it in a dough, that's made of chickpea flour. And there's another favorite of mine. Now we've just made all of these tikkis, and the oil is hot. You can see we put a little mixture in, and we just start putting the tikkis in. And just let them 3 or 4 minutes on the one side till they start to get a little brown. Then we turn them over, and you just keep turning them until they get to be a nice golden brown colour. We've turned the tikkis over. We moved them to a smaller pan because the other one was a bit too big for the electric plate. So we just keep turning them until they get a nice golden brown, and then we'll show you when they're finished. So we're finished. Now we have aloo tikki and mint chutney, and I've mixed it a little bit with yogurt and Ladoos. So Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll see you in the new year. Bye.